Chapter 14. Pilgrims, Indians, and Puritans. Like the Jamestown colonists, the Pilgrims have picked a poor site. The New England coast is cold and wind-whipped. The land is rocky. The soil is thin. But these industrious people will use the sea and the forest to sustain themselves. Soon, they will be shipping fish, furs, and lumber back to England. Without the Indians, they might not have survived. Picture this scene. Pilgrims are struggling to find ways to live in this difficult region when out of the woods strides a tall man in deerskin clothes. They are astounded when he greets them. "Welcome, Englishmen," he says. His name is Samoset, and he has learned some English from fishermen and traders. Samoset returns with 60 Indians, a chieftain named Massasoit, and an Indian whom the settlers name Squanto. Squanto speaks English well. He had been kidnapped by sailors, taken to London, befriended by a London merchant, and then returned to his native land. Trumpet and drums are played as the Pilgrims' governor, John Carver, leads Massasoit to his house, kisses his hand, as is proper to a king, offers refreshments, and writes a treaty of peace between the Indians and the English. While Massasoit is alive, the peace will be kept. Squanto stays with the settlers. To the Pilgrims, he was a special instrument sent of God for their good beyond their expectation. He directed them how to plant their corn, where to catch fish, and to procure other commodities, and was also their pilot to bring them to unknown places. In 1621, after the first harvest, the Pilgrims invite their Indian friends to a 3-day feast of Thanksgiving. In 1 year, they have accomplished much. The Pilgrims are frugal, but the celebration is unusually generous. They will need their food to get through the winter and to help feed the new colonists who are beginning to arrive. William Bradford, who is elected governor when John Carver dies suddenly, keeps a record of the arrivals. When the ship Fortune docks, he says, "There was not so much as biscuit cake, neither had they any bedding, nor pot or pan." Abraham Pierce, a black indentured servant, is one of those who comes in 1623. A few years later, he will own land, vote, and be a respected member of the community. The new arrivals bring reports from England that are not good. Now the Puritans are in trouble. The Puritans are also called saints, but they are more moderate than Pilgrims. Remember, Puritans don't want to separate themselves from the Church of England. They want to purify the Church. What they really want is to control the Church of England. Of course, King James and those in charge don't want that at all. The Puritans can't stand King James, and he doesn't like them either. Of the Puritans, he says, "I will make them conform themselves, or else I will harass them out of the land." The Puritans can see that King James isn't good for England's economy. First, there is inflation, and then a depression. James has brought his big spending friends to England from Scotland, where he is also king. They are getting special favors. The Puritans are not. And so a group of Puritans gathers at Cambridge University, where most of them have gone to college, and make plans to sail to America. The Puritans are better educated than the Pilgrims, and richer too. John Winthrop, their leader, is a lawyer, born on a manor with servants and tenants. When King James dies in 1625 and Charles I becomes a king, things get even worse for the Puritans.